If this is the gun that killed Jesse James, I have no problem giving you $250,000.
Damn, I've never seen one of these before. It's a pistol ring.
17th century padlock key gun.
A key gun and a lock.
The first seller walked in with one of the strangest items ever brought into the shop.
We have a pistol grown into a tree.
The seller said he bought it at an Old West collectibles auction and believed the real value was in the mystery behind it.
I'm guessing 1858 Remington? Is it loaded?
Supposedly, there is a bullet in the chamber.
After checking, Rick confirmed one round was still inside, completely sealed by the tree that grew around the barrel.
Every once in a while, people bring in buried or sunken treasure. But a gun that a tree actually grew into, I've definitely never seen anything like this.
The seller wanted $18,000, but Rick was unsure what something like this could be worth, so he called in a firearms expert.
This is crazy. How did this get here? Nobody's gonna ever know.
The expert confirmed it was a Remington New Model Army revolver, one of the most widely used pistols by Union soldiers during the Civil War.
This is the one time when you're gonna ask me what it's worth that I'm gonna tell you, I don't know. Tell you what I would pay for it, I'd pay $3,000 or $4,000, no problem.
The expert explained that the gun's value wasn't in its condition, but in the story it told.
Because I really want this for myself. I'd give you $4,000 for it.
No.
We'd take $5,000.
No.
The next seller walked in with a cased set of antique pistols that had been passed down through his family.
What can you tell me about them?
I don't really know a whole lot. You know, they've just been sitting in my closet.
The old man immediately recognized them as a matching dueling set, likely made in England around the mid-1800s or earlier.
Back in the good old days when you had a heated disagreement with someone, you settled it with a duel. They had matching guns so that one person didn't have an advantage of a better gun. But if you were a bad shot, you'd be better off apologizing than getting your head blown off.
The old man called in his antique arms expert to make sure everything checked out, especially since he didn't see any proof marks on the barrels.
Now, you're concerned about there being a lack of proof marks. This type of gun, when you push this pin out, this barrel lifts right out of there. So they put the proof marks on the bottom.
The expert explained that because the pistols were still in their original case with the accessories and label, he estimated the set could be worth anywhere from $5,500 to $15,000, depending on the buyer.
So what do you want from them, guy?
Could I get 5,000?
No. Guy, if you want it, you got $3,000.
How about 3,500?
How about 2,500?
You're going the wrong way.
I'll go 3,250. I'll split it with you. That's the best I'm gonna go.
That sounds fair enough.
$7,500, that'd be like it.
This gun is the gun that killed Jesse James.
The next seller walked in with a Colt .45 from the 1800s, claiming it was the gun that killed Jesse James.
If this is the gun that killed Jesse James, that's damn cool and I want it. Jesse James was the biggest American cowboy outlaw.
Rick explained that Jesse James is one of America's most famous outlaws, and that anything linked to his death would be extremely valuable if proven real.
In the Old West, gunfighters would take a knife and put a notch in for every time they killed somebody, killed them dead. That notch is Jesse James.
Holy
The seller said the gun had been displayed around the country for years as the weapon that killed Jesse James.
How much you want?
$50,000.
If this is the gun that killed Jesse James, I have no problem giving you $250,000. According to everything I know, he was killed with a Smith & Wesson.
Rick also pointed out major red flags, including missing factory markings and questionable chrome plating.
At the Colt factory, even back then, they had a lot of quality control. It was the best of the best. Colt would have never did such a hideous, terrible job chrome plating a gun.
Rick explained that without factory records or solid proof to support the claim, he wasn't convinced, and since the gun couldn't be authenticated, he declined to make an offer. The next seller walked in with one of the smallest weapons ever brought into the shop.
Damn, I've never seen one of these before. It's a pistol ring.
The seller explained the ring pistol dated back to the 1800s and was extremely rare.
It's called an Imperial Protector. This is a 6-shot version. I assume it's for gamblers.
Rick pointed out that despite its small size, the ring pistol was a real weapon, and its firing system dated back to the earliest days of cartridges.
How much did you want for it?
$9,000.
Let me get a friend of mine down here who's going to know more about this than I am.
The expert explained these pistols were luxury items, owned only by wealthy collectors, and were incredibly scarce.
So what do they go for?
You don't need any ammunition with it, do you?
No.
Normally, I see them go from between $4,000 to $6,000. At a recent auction, one was up for sale. Two guys started going at it, and it went for $11,500.
After the expert weighed in, Rick offered $3,000. The seller refused, so Rick raised it to $5,000, but the seller still wouldn't budge.
$7,000 would be my top dollar.
No, can't do it.
What would be your best price?
$8,500.
I'm sorry, I just can't do it. All these in the world.
Absolutely.
Blair had walked in with a
Really weirdness with the serial number.
This is a very rare piece. It's got some silver, got some gold in it, and it's all engraved.
The next seller brought in a Remington revolver from the late 1800s.
Where did you get this?
A lady friend of mine got it in a divorce. So
Lady friend, huh?
lady friend. We made an arrangement, and
You got paid for your services.
The seller was asking for $15,000, but there was no documentation to confirm the gun's originality, so Rick brought in an expert to evaluate it.
In 1890, this was that cowboy gun. This gun is completely original. This could exceed in value of maybe $40,000 or more.
The expert confirmed it was indeed a Remington Model 1890, a favorite of Old West gunslingers, but after checking the serial number and finish, he found signs that it had been refinished and replated decades later, not factory original.
So what do you think it's worth?
Realistically, I've seen them sell $8,000 to maybe $12,000.
After hearing the expert's appraisal, Rick offered him $5,000, but then the seller countered with $7,000. In the end, they eventually agreed on $6,000.
LeMat pistol from the Civil War.
It's one of the rarest guns in American history. It's a 9-shot revolver and a shotgun.
The seller explained that what made it unique was its design. It featured a 9-shot .42 caliber revolver cylinder with a secondary 20-gauge shotgun barrel mounted underneath. A selector on the hammer allowed the shooter to switch between standard rounds and a shotgun blast.
This is one of the holy grail. A real LeMat revolver is a rare find. I'm going to have collectors lining up to buy this thing. How much were you looking to get out of it?
In the $18,000 to $20,000 range.
Let me have someone take a look at it.
The expert checked the serial number and markings, explaining that the LeMat had 3 models. Since this revolver fell within the proper range for a second model and showed correct construction details, he verified it as authentic.
However, that doesn't mean that it's in wonderful shape. These nipples have been replaced. I think at some point in the past somebody tried to clean it up, which is always a bad idea.
After hearing the expert's evaluation, the seller lowered his asking price to $13,500, to which Rick responded with a $7,000 counteroffer, pointing out that the piece was missing crucial markings.
If you were to go out right now and try to find one anywhere in the country to buy, I don't think you could.
I'll go 9.
I can do $12,000.
I'll tell you what, I'll go 10 grand.
I just can't do that.
The seller said he wouldn't go Buller's collection, and that his father had always told him it dated back to the 1600s.
You know, I always pictured this really famous guy that won a lot of duels, and that was his powder flask.
I think it's more jewelry than it is actually used for a gun.
Rick explained that combining bone with ivory was a common cost-saving practice at the time, and that the bluing on the metal reflected a high level of craftsmanship.
How much are you going to get out of this?
$20,000 is fair for something this age, this ornate.
Let me just call someone up. Someone's going to know a lot more than I am. They're going to know about the value better. But I have a friend who will know everything.
Yeah, that works.
After examining the craftsmanship and imagery, the expert concluded that the piece was likely created as a tribute to King Henry II and was connected to the French royal court.
These 2 hooks here would have connected to some type of fancy lanyard that went around the courtier's neck and under their arm, and it would have hung there. And you can see this is something to other people to be envious of.
The expert explained that this powder flask was worn as a status symbol at the French court, and noted that, at the right auction, it could easily fetch $20,000.
I mean, what's your best price on it?
$20,000.
Or I pay you 10 grand.
What about $15,000?
I'll give you 11 grand for it.
Could you do 12?
All right, 12,000. We got a deal.
The next seller came into the shop with a rare 1880s Gifford carbonic gas pistol.
This thing is really, really neat.
Rare. They're very rare.
I'm sure these are rare because I've never seen one before and I've been doing this my whole life. Rare doesn't always mean value.
The seller explained the pistol was a World War II war trophy passed down through his family and was designed as an alternative to gunpowder.
So I'm assuming this was probably a target pistol, or I really don't see it as a defensive weapon. You know, it's got a really super long barrel.
Rick explained that during the 1800s, inventors were constantly trying to replace gunpowder with compressed gas, but the technology never quite worked.
How much you want for it?
I'm looking for $7,500.
For $7,500, I can buy an antique Colt revolver.
Rick said he was unsure about the demand, so he decided to bring in an expert.
I don't get surprised very often, but today's a surprise. I have seen 2 of these in my life. Air rifles are very collectible. Air pistols are very collectible. I'm at a loss for words.
The expert praised the condition, pointing out that the original gold inlay and hand engraving were intact, but said limited demand kept the value around $3,000.
So what you're offering me is $3,000.
No. I will give you $2,200.
What happened to $25,000?
I'll tell you what, I'll give you $2,500 for it.
$3,000 is definitely out of the ballpark.
All right, man. Take it easy. Do it for $2,500?
I'll do $25,000.
The next seller walked into the shop with a strange and historic weapon from the 17th century.
17th century padlock key gun.
The key gun and a lock. Let's take a look at the lock here. It's pretty freaking heavy. Wow.
The seller explained that the gun was fully functional and was hoping to get $5,000 for it.
It almost looks too good, you know? I'm gonna need to make sure it's authentic and put a real solid value on it.
The expert confirmed it was a genuine key gun from between 1680 and 1720, and its original working lock made it especially rare.
Like I said, I've never seen one with its original lock, so if it functions well, I think you're approaching $10,000.
So to test the gun's functionality, they took it to the firing range.
I'm gonna show you how this is done. 3, 2, 1.
After seeing it work, the expert said the piece could bring around $10,000 at auction.
So how much did you want for it?
Let's go 7.5.
I'm offering $5,000. It's more than a fair offer.
I'm thinking 5,500.
You know, I'm really thinking the 5.
53?
52 and you got a deal.
52 it is.
I have a pair of 1860 Colt Army revolvers.
So where in the world did you get these?
I actually just moved to Vegas and I found them in my garage.
Rick explained that the Colt Army was a standard-issue Union pistol during the Civil War and one of the most advanced firearms of its time.
How much do you want for them?
$20,000.
All right, do you know how much a pair of 1860 pistols are worth? A pair of them? Over $100,000.
While the pieces might fetch 6 figures, Rick pointed out the serial numbers were too far apart to be factory engraved. Later engravings added some value, but far less than original work.
We're nowhere near the 6 figures they would go for if they were factory engraved. But these Colts are a very attractive pair. And Colts are as collectible as they come.
Rick started the negotiation at $3,500 and went back and forth with the seller, trying to find common ground.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you $5,000. I think that's a fair price.
I'll do the 5.